I have also the pleasure to have with us Sanjiv Gupta. Sanjiv, come here. Sanjiv is a graduate from Delhi University. He has a long track of companies, but he founded Bodhtree and led the company as chairman and founder. He has more than 25 years of successful entrepreneurial experience in India, but also in other companies. He's also successful attracted business from Fortune 500, Forbes, etc. And then Bodhtree has been a company that has received a lot of money. Securant was also another venture acquired by Cisco at the end, and he also co-founded Trylah, the first of its kind of a B2B mobile search classified service based in Malaysia and expanded rapidly across the Southeast Asia. He's also co-founder of 24x7guru.com, an education e-assessment portal that at the moment is serving more than 2.7 million students offline. Then it's a lot of massive courses and support for students. He's coming from another part of the world, but he's also part of an international advisory board member with the intention to understand what is happening there and what kind of experiences are and what is the lessons that we can learn from the success of India around many entrepreneurial activities in the last 20 years. Then Sanjiv, thank you very much for coming, and you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Gonzalo. Thank you for giving me the opportunity of coming and meeting with all of you here. When you were making the introduction, Gonzalo, I think you left one. You haven't mentioned the failures. I can guarantee you they far outstrip the successes I've had so far. In fact, if you ran a PhD program here for failures, I'd probably top that chart. I have had 3 failed attempts in entrepreneurship. One was miserable, that wiped me out. That got me to work a little harder. My next one was a company that I founded, which is Bodhtree, which we got listed. It's traded on the Indian Stock Exchange. Got 2 more product companies founded. Both are at early stage of raising money. And I'm mentoring 2 other companies in products, one of the USA and one out of India. My experience thus far and role thus far has been non-technical. I happen to, by chance, by fluke, run a technology company, but I'm a non-technical CEO of a technology company. I guess that lots of differentiators, like I said, one is failure, one is non-technical CEO. I don't know whether that's good or bad, but my talk today is not going to be on technology. It's not going to be on how technology has changed things or how it's improved things or what we should do better. It's more on how failure should be addressed or how India as a third world country has addressed failure. And then at the end of that presentation, I've got a small workaround that we have put together, going by understanding all the pitfalls that we had and all the failures that we went through, of how we could use that to build a small application that folks could use either when they are doing their research or either when companies are planning to embark on newer territories or newer geographies or newer products. So we put this together over some time. We took all the social networks available, social media interaction capabilities available, and put something together. So I'll walk you through that. So like I said, my specialization is failures, and I come from a country that's failed far too often. So let me start with that. In fact, part of the session prior to this was your mentioning about recession being the precursor for development in Spain. So we started with failure, right? And we're talking about the resurgence of the economy. Michael talked about pain and talked about solutions happening only after you experience pain. I think Glenn said that failure was probably very, very understated as one of the prerequisites required or that most entrepreneurs go through. I think the more we share where we lost, the more we will help people not make the same mistake again. And it's very, very nice to say that this is what I've achieved, but then I have not shared with them what the pitfalls were. So that's my attempt. And help me if you want me to make a change there. So just to take you back to, like I told you, the situation that we were in India. We were at one time considered a very rich country, much before my great-grandfather was born. Then we had a series of bad mishaps. We were plundered by foreign nations for a good many years, 400 years. There was no entrepreneurship because whichever nation invaded India, they wanted to control the country. They wanted to control the natural resources, the minerals, the metals, and so on and so forth. And they wanted folks in India to work for them, obviously. So the princes and the kings became workers, became government officers. I guess what really happened was that once the kingdoms were taken over, the aggressors wanted to raise money. So the only way they could raise money is by introducing taxation, which is something that the country did not know of. So again, there was further burden. The only way out, which seemed then possible, was to get rid of invasion, to try and fight for your own rights. And strangely, that negative about the invasion, about the aggression, and about whatever else, but the decision to fight for your own rights got the country together, which was shattered, broken. That got the country together. And the divided country then started getting more working in tandem. New thinkers got into action. Obviously, so when there's a change, there's new thinking, new philosophy, new thinkers got into action, state-owned ownerships started, and obviously whenever there's state-owned ownerships, that will lead a rise to small sector enterprises, which will support the state ownership companies. And then the largest miracle that happened for India were the two wars that we fought. I think we'd seen so much of aggression that we were scared of being invaded and taken over again. So we became closer. As a nation, we grew together. We didn't want to get down that path all over again, what we'd been through. So I remember this, even when the Indo-Pak War happened, the call was to donate arms to help the army fight, and people actually gave their jewelry to the government. Not for getting anything back, but they didn't want to become part of a race that was again going to be controlled by somebody else. The rest, I think, is history, so I'll skip that fast. What really happened with independence, which is liberalization and education and the economy building up and the resurgence of the private sector. And then we started getting our confidence back because we realized that, yes, we don't need anybody else to tell us what to do and when to do. We can do it ourselves. And this confidence was actually, it became an obsession, a passion to want to succeed. So what really started off with a failure, maybe not controlled, maybe not warranted, but actually became the resilience and the backbone for the country, however poor we are, however poor we were, however disparate we were, desperate and disparate we were. It became an obsession to grow and grow fast. Well, so this is something that we all know about the recipe for entrepreneurship that really the Indian leaders helped us understand and go further. I'll exchange some examples of how low can one get and then achieve heights. And this I'm telling you more out of, not everybody knows about entrepreneurship all over the world, but this is more about pride when there is no resource available to you. When you're starting from the humblest of beginnings, what happens next? So very often considered one of the founders of Indian economy. This man was actually selling foodstuff on a push cart. He went on to start selling fabric. He would cycle about 50 to 75 kilometers a day to sell fabric to ladies after buying it from mills. And he went on now to become one of the largest industrialists in the country, who's been quoted by the Forbes magazine, and who today runs an empire worth approximately 100 billion. This gentleman was illiterate. We come with another person who was educated, who did his aeronautical engineering, humble beginnings, rose to make India's first aircraft company. Was a pilot, a great thinker, And like I said, all he had to his credit was having done aeronautical engineering. So Glenn, that's some thought for you. Today his company employs 400,000 people, and they work out of 70 countries. A man, I think, whose passion is a lesson for all of us, who lost his job. He wanted to get into IT. He didn't have anyone to fund his IT, the information technology. So he sold whatever he had, including pledging the jewelry of his wife, and rose to make what we call Infosys. And Infosys has been acclaimed by Fortune magazine as the 12 largest creations in the IT space. Again, I'm just giving you 2 or 3 examples. There's another one that's where this is a son of a petty moneylender. He would just lend money for small amounts and as collateral, amounts as low as $50 and $70. He started getting contracts at the railway station to clean the platforms. And he went on to establishing the largest shipping company in India and manufacturing fighter aircraft. This man came from nowhere. He was in one of the boondock states in the country, had not seen any civilization for a long time. He realized the importance of cooperatives. He realized that people were working. He went back in history and remembered the invasion, remembered the aggression, remembered the fragmentation of people, and he realized that there is importance in people working together in harmony. So all he did was he collected people who have cattle, who have buffaloes, and he got them to do a milk cooperative, to put the milk to produce together so that they can get together and sell it. And guess what? He is called the father of the milk revolution in India, and his company produces the largest amount of milk in the world. Was that entrepreneurship? For people who came from really nowhere and who had nothing to do? Now, at least these were individuals, right? Let me take you to another very interesting story. Possibly you must have heard of this. These are a set of completely illiterate people who chose to do a job, and I'll tell you why I have put these little slides together once this is over, who chose to do something in their lives which was adding to everybody's mind, to my mind also at that time, was no value. Small set of people, what they started with, where they are, completely illiterate, written by Ripley's Believe It or Not, quoted by Forbes, had a session at Stanford, or a case study at Kellogg's. I'll just play the short. It's a 3-minute YouTube link. So what I want you to take away from here is the fact that they are illiterate completely. They did not get the education that you and I have got, and they chose to do something as menial as what they're doing. And you will see what they've resulted with.
If you visit Mumbai, you are bound to notice the Dabbawalas. You may not realize this, but the Dabbawalas are a very important part of life in Mumbai. They are the ones who make sure that nearly 200,000 people get their lunch in time at their offices or schools every day from home. Their operations are so efficient that world personalities like Prince Charles and Richard Branson have visited them. They have been invited for lectures at business schools. They are even said to be Six Sigma compliant. Now, what is a dabba? A dabba is simply a tiffin box carrying home-cooked food, which is to be delivered from the home to a person in an office or a school. And the dabbawala is a person who picks up the food from the home and ensures that it is delivered to the right office to the right person on time.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम रघुनाथ धोंडेवा मेदगे हूँ। मैं डब्बावाला एसोसिएशन का प्रेसिडेंट हूँ। हमारी डब्बा का सर्विस 18 से 90 से शुरू है। हमारे टोटल 5000 मेंबर्स बम्बई में कार्यरत है।
It all may sound fairly simple, but imagine doing this in one of the most densely populated cities in the world. The dabbawalas have high rates of accuracy and their error rates are shockingly 1 in a million only. And what is even more impressive, that all the dabbawalas are fairly illiterate and have no use of any technology. The only motorized transport used is the Mumbai local trains. Other than that, they make use of hand-drawn carts and bicycles.
मेरी ग्रुप की साइकिल है, अंधेरी स्टेशन में छोड़ के जाता हूँ, तो मैं दूसरे ग्रुप की साइकिल डिलीवरी के पॉइंट पे यूज करता हूँ और मेरी साइकिल वो लोग यूज करते हैं.
The dabbas or the lunch boxes have a color coding scheme which makes sure that they get to the right destination. The structure of this organization is fairly flat. It has just 3 levels. First, the governing body. Second, the team leads or the supervisors. And third, the Dabbawalas. And everyone is an equal shareholder in this organization. There are no bosses and the earnings are equally divided.
हर एक बंदा का काम टीम के लिए करना है. अगर एक बंदा कम काम करेगा तो पूरी टीम की इनकम सोर्स लो हो जाती है.
All the Dabbawalas come from the same Warkari sect, and whenever any replacement is required, villages that have this Warkari sect are approached for suitable candidates. To join this organization as a Dabbawala, the Dabbawalas have to bring a few things: a long wooden crate, 2 bicycles, and ₹20 for a Gandhi cap that they wear. And how much do you think would it cost to avail of this very efficient Dabba service? Less than $10 a month. While the operations are fairly simple, the Dabbawalas are now beginning to work with newer technologies. You can SMS them or you can also log on to their site mydabbawala.com to avail of their services.
अभी लंदन में भी प्रिंस चार्ल्स की शादी में जाकर आया हूँ. इटली में 2 बार जाने का मौका हमें मिला है. पोस्ट मैगजीन ने भी हमारी रिसर्च की थी. बीबीसी ने भी डॉक्यूमेंट्री वहाँ बना के दी थी. हमारे ऊपर देखते हैं कि इनको क्यों ना 6 सिग्मा देना चाहिए. हमें तो पता ही नहीं 6 सिग्मा क्या है.
And given their reach in Mumbai, Microsoft has also partnered with the Dabbawalas. The Dabbawalas distributed leaflets and wore Microsoft branded clothes to spread awareness of genuine Windows softwares to their customers.
5,000 बम्बई के डब्बे वाले 4 लाख टिफिन का ट्रांजैक्शन पर डे लोकल ट्रेन से, साइकिल से और मैन पावर की वजह से कर रहे हैं.
I'm Premjit Singh, showing you Mumbai.
So friends, do these guys know how to spell entrepreneur? No. Do they know what technology is? No. They devise their own means, and they are one of the most talked about entrepreneurs from my country. It's really a matter of pride that you have 5,000 illiterate people who don't know each other, who get together for a common cause. Thank you. Get together for a common cause to fulfill a need, and with charges as low as what he just said. Membership is 20 rupees. 20 rupees is probably 30 cents. And that's a membership of being a part of this. All of them are shareholders, and it's one company. So what is the takeaway from both the sets that I showed you? The earlier ones, which spoke about the individuals who made large business empires, and these group of illiterate people, is that they realize there's a need. They socialize that need with people who might have that requirement. So they validated the requirement. They put together a plan to deliver something that will actually look after what the need was. So they had the customers in mind, they had a validated program in mind, and they went about putting something customized for them. That's all it requires. And that's what I learned after several failures. So as I said, that's what we did at one of these things, and you can go to this website called popinnow.com. So again, to take you to what you said, Michael, you said pain. So POP actually stands for Portal of Pain. It's a portal where the idea is to socialize your pain, and you crowd share your pain, you crowd solve the solution, and it can also go on to crowdfunding it. So everybody puts in their problems. So in our initial session that we had in the US, we were collecting a couple of hundred CIOs, take them out, do an offsite, have them all put their own problems in a particular portal. That's a portal. See the commonality of problems between different CIOs. So you're crowd sharing. See if anybody got a solution to address those pains. So that's crowd solving. And if there's no solution available, how many people would like to get together, collaborate, and build a solution, and all take part in the equity in that solution build up. So that was how it started. But when we started doing this, and we had some very large companies who have been using this, including Boeing. So some very large companies who've been using this. Some of the customers came back and said that, yes, this is great for crowd sharing, solving, and funding, but we have problems within our company. And we don't know very often where we're going, or what the direction is, or what we need to do. So that's, again, I'm breaking this up into two parts. One is for the company, but again, the logic remains the same. And I'll show it to you, change a couple of terminology, it's the same thing whether it's for students, or companies, or enterprise, or new entrepreneurs, or whatever. The logic is that you have to understand your customer. You have to know where the customer is, what he needs, how does he need it, at what price he needs it. What is the competition and can I build it? Cheaper, quicker, faster. So Pop-in was launched recently and I said we've got a fair number of customers, but you can certainly go ahead and use it. In fact, I have been impressed with what's happening here and I've offered Gonzalo that if they want, we'll be happy to allow the university to use Pop-in without any commercials. So again, the idea of Pop-in is be relevant. Students, you are doing a lot of stuff, you are research, you are investing so much time and effort. Are you relevant to what you're doing? Are you relevant to what the market wants? Are you relevant to what your offer is going to be? Are you relevant in terms of time? Do you know what you're developing today? Is it required today or has it already been done by somebody else 2 years ago, which you're not aware of? No, why are you doing it then? It's not for the library, it's not for the archives. It's for somebody to use it and for you to get that PhD for some meaning. So again, why could just change this research topic? Are you scientific in identifying a research topic to product? And it becomes an enterprise. Research topic could be for students. It just says get practical, ideate, evaluate, collaborate. It's so simple. If I miss one of them, I am not in sync with what the market wants and what I'm developing for the market. Research begins and ends only with collaboration. It's the appropriate project, appropriate mentor. I may have a mentor because he's my friend's uncle, but is that appropriate? Is he going to be adding value to me? Is he going to be adding value to the project? Validate the appropriate industry. There is no point in those Dhaba wala that we just saw the film if they're going to go and do some coding in Microsoft. So is there an appropriate industry that they're working for? Is there an appropriate partner? I can get angel funding or VC funding from somebody who just wants to give the money and get the returns. We're looking at a venture partner, not a vulture partner. So is he going to be somebody going to take me to the next level? And is there an appropriate customer in place? Typically and always, this interaction is ongoing and continuous. Now that's something that we realized because of some of our failures, that we don't just need this one time. There are things changing every time, every day. You have to be very nimble and you have to be able to dynamically change your path depending upon what the market needs are. So this is what the app looks like. Again, we could change this identification of a PhD major to product. And the rest remain the same. Contain, control, and curate suggestions. Now, what does this mean? Contain here means you're containing the audience. In the case of a PhD program, we're talking about the mentor. We're talking about university, we're talking about companies. In terms of product, the audience could be my customers, could be my franchisees, could be my partners. So you're containing the audience, you're controlling the topic. The topic is the same whether it's a product or a student. And you're curating. So what this application does, it automatically curates the more conversed topics and brings them up to the top instead of you're having to do that manually. Imagine having to do this over 200 people by WhatsApp. It's not possible. I mean, well, it is possible, but you have to then be ready to invest maybe 15 days of your time to just keep curating and fine-tuning. And even then, you don't know whether there's an agreement between people. So what this does a multilateral socializing with people. So everybody can ideate, can comment, can vote on comments, and this does automatic curation. We've tried it in a few places. It's a very, very handy tool to help, like I said, research people, to help industry, to fine-tune their thought processes. And then crowd review. So again, explains it. I'll go faster because I think I'm running short of time. It helps you in idea reporting, that the invitees are called to report, the ideas are entered, so on and so forth. Some of the feature highlights. It's helping to focus, to source, to solve, and to implement. Essentially what it does, it's getting all your stakeholders together. Like I said, it's industry agnostic. It is language agnostic. Well, so as long as it's not yet in colloquial languages. It helps you to just fine tune. So that really is my short presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any question? I have one related to the ecosystem associated to that, because even your presentation means that to be able to implement an approach like that, you need to have a closely connected society where people should share and should be used to share their ideas, etc., and cooperate with others. Do you think that that in India you have this kind of society that is closer together to work to? Because one of the problems here is that here I'm speaking in Spain in general, probably in Europe, that we're taking a lot of time to create the right ecosystem because we need to break the individualism. At what extent this problem is being solved, and how entrepreneurship could help, could be improved if the individualism is more or less compensated with other more networked society?
Okay, so my answer is in two parts, Gonzalo. Good question. The two parts are, so one is when we say pop in for industry, for enterprise, there is no conflict. There is a company, there is a CEO, or there is a brand head, or there is a VP marketing. The VP marketing or VP sales wants to know how to increase sales. There's no conflict. He wants to socialize. So I'll tell you of a case where we've got a pharmaceutical company. They have 4,000 medical reps whose job is to go and socialize the new drugs with prospective doctors to have them prescribe, or to inform people, to educate them about what the new drug is going to do for them. There is no conflict. So the VP sales wants to know what are the best ways that I can engage with my audience, which is a doctor. There is no conflict because the common agenda of the company is to increase sales. And whenever there's any kind of a commenting happening on the pop-in platform, we have got two options. One is that you can be named, so everybody who's participating, the name appears in the list of the hierarchy of events. The second is anonymous, so even people who are saying something, the name doesn't appear. So if they want to say something that's really bizarre, but they don't want to antagonize or upset anybody, they can do so. So to answer the question, in enterprise, there's no problem. In research, you don't have to share your thought with every student in the university. I understand that, because there is knowledge, and knowledge is power, and knowledge is important. But then you have to share that with prospective mentors. You have to share that with the university. You have to share that with prospective companies that may want to use it. If I'm doing something in HTML5, like we just spoke about, I need to talk to people who are in the mobile space. Heck, what will I do with HTML5 if I'm going to be sitting with it in pharmacy delivery? So I need to get those brand of customers, people that I can reach to tell them that, okay, if this is the kind of thing I might go in for, do you think that makes sense? I'm just trying to be more relevant to what I'm trying to do and for whom I'm trying to do it. So I agree with the conflict part if it is done in an open forum where somebody can take away the benefit of somebody else's idea. Great, yeah, and that's really competition. But if it's done, therefore it tells you to help you to control your audience. It's not an open forum. It's not Facebook.
Yeah.
So I think that part has been addressed. I hope I've answered that question.
Probably because I have suffered a lot trying to convince people to work together, but it's too late. Okay.
No, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
Do you have any questions?
Any questions for me?
Okay, well,
Great. Thank you very much.